Hey everyone, John here from the Embroidery Legacy, and let's have some fun with the Design Doodler. Now this is the follow-up video to our introduction where I showed you all of the tools and the great things you can do with the Design Doodler. Now I'm going to bring in the artwork, the same artwork that we did last time, and I'm going to make sure I have a new window open, and then I'm going to go down to my artwork and I'm going to click on it and open. And I'm going to just go down here real quick now that it's open. And remember, if you don't see it, make sure that that little grayed area for view backdrop is actually on. If it's not on, you won't be able to see it. And I also want to make sure that under my settings, I am in Imperial because I want to change the size of this and I want it to be about 5 inches in height. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to the next button over, which is Select Backdrop. I'll select the backdrop. I can see my properties are here. If your properties aren't showing, just click on the little property button. It will show up, and then make sure your maintain aspect ratio is checked on. That way it will do both of them at the same time. If I type in 5 here and hit enter, it's changed to 5 inches, and then I can go to my left, hit 0, go to my right, hit 0. That way I know I'm just centered onto the grid. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. And now I'm going to go to a 1:1 scale just so I can see everything. Click off of the image. It's now unselected. And I actually forgot to do one thing. Let's select that again. So I'm going to go to the select backdrop and I'm going to go back to my properties, and let's make sure that we adjust the opacity just a little bit so that it is going to be dimmed a little bit in the background, because I'm going to put black around those black outlines and I don't want it to be too stark. So now I can click off of that and I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to go to my 3:1 scale, and for the most part for the fills I'm going to leave it at this. Maybe even for most of the design, unless I choose to do some details, because I'm doodling, and that's one thing I love about doodling. It's not like you're creating corporate logos or things that have to be technically perfect. This is all about artistic merit. I'm going to choose my fill stitch. I'm going to choose 0.6 millimeters is fine, and I'm going to do my my regular freehand, and then I'm just going to start right here. And I'm actually, before I do that, let's undo. I need to change my color because I do not want my leaves to be brown. I want them to be green. So before I got too far into it, I'm going to change that to green. I could have changed it afterwards, but I might as well do it now. And now I can start all over again. And let's just outline around here and go up to the top and then come back down on the other side and just doodle that leaf. And then let's go to this side. I'm going to stay around the outside. I'm going to come in to this side right here. I might just go around to this one. Again, I don't have to worry about being 100% perfect. The software will also clean things up a little bit as I go forward. And I'm just going to go in now and I'm going to very quickly do all of these little pieces. There's one. Here is another one. And then I'll jump over to this side. I'm kind of going from one side to the other just so that I'm making sure that I have enough distance between each of these objects so it is going to register a jump and a trim. If it doesn't, as we know, we can fix that, which I also love about the features of adding trims and jumps to objects so that you don't have any of those stitches that appear between and connect. So you can also adjust that. Now that I'm done all the green, I'm just going to choose a light color, and now I'm going to do each of these petals individually, and I'm just going to try to follow again fairly closely around this. Does not have to be perfect. It can be off a little bit in places. It isn't going to matter because we are going to have a satin stitch that's going to line up everything afterwards, and we are going to adjust the start and stop points of this so that it does give us a start and stop for each of these objects. So this one here, I'm just going to come right here and do this piece. And actually I didn't like that one, so let's go back. And actually I'm going to change it. I'm going to do this piece first instead. It's just going to be easier for me to go in afterwards and adjust the starts and stops. So there's that piece. Then I'll do this one next. So let's come right over here and do this piece coming around. And the reason why I'm doing these individually as opposed to all as one piece is because I do want to change the stitch directions of each of these to add a little bit of dimension to what I'm doing. So there is that one, and it's done. So now if I want to add a little bit of dimension, this is where I'm going to take a darker color. I'm going to go to my run stitch. I'm going to choose, let's say, I think 3 millimeters should be fine. But I'm going to come here and add just a little bit of area like this. So adding some darkness. And I'm just really coming here, and again I'm going to change direction so that I have this piece here, adding a little bit of dark shading. There it is. I can continue on now, and I can probably travel right down the center. And I'm going to come in and kind of do this and just do a little bit of shading through here and a little bit of shading through here. Again, I don't have to be perfect. I want to make sure that this is rather random. I can come here, go down to this side, come over here, and that's probably all I need, just a little bit of shading within those petals. If I turn the 3D on, you can kind of see how that shading is blending into that design. Now that that is done, all I have to do is the outlines. So I'm going to go to my steel stitch. I'm going to probably choose, let's say, I'm going to choose 1 millimeter, but I'm going to probably make it a little bit bigger afterwards. I'm going to choose 1 millimeter, and I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to choose my black color, and now I can do all of the outlines. Now for my outlines, I want to be a little bit more exact, so I'm probably going to zoom into the 6:1 scale, because the fills I could be a little bit, they're a little forgiving, but the black outlines I want to try to get correct. And I'm also going to not worry so much about anchor points and how I am mapping through this design, because that's the whole thing about the Doodler. It's meant to be easy, and that's where I'm going to use that branching tool and just make this just so much simpler. So let me go to our 6:1 scale. I know I'm already at black. I'm going to actually pan up just a tad so that I see this one leaf here, and I'm going to start with that leaf, and I'm going to make sure that I am ready to go. So I know I can see that my hand is there right now. To make sure the hand goes away, I just click on the density, and I think my density was set to 0.6 millimeters, which is fine. And I'm just going to come in here now, and I am going to grab this object and go all the way down like that. So there's my first piece. I'm going to come over here now and just come up, and again it is pretty forgiving as far as cleaning up the outline. So there's my second piece, looks nice and clean. Now I'm going to zoom down a little bit. Oh, I didn't want to zoom in, so let's go back to our 6:1 scale, and let's go out of here and go back to our density, and I'm going to make sure that I'm at the 0.6 density, and now I can continue on with my design and start drawing these objects around here. And I'm pretty much drawing right on the line that you see. So even though this is technically not kind of perfect, I'm not really worried about which sequence I'm doing things in. It is actually giving me a nice clean outline between these fills, and it is going to look pretty good when it's done. So let's just go all the way around here, keeping a fairly steady hand but not worrying about it too much. And then let's go right over here. We'll do this little piece. As long, again, as they are connecting, then I know the branching is going to do its job. And all I have to do now is grab, let's say, this piece right here. Let's go all the way around. This is going to be one continuous piece all the way from here down to the bottom, come around the other side, and then go all the way up and over, and that one's done. And then I can come over here, and I can see a whole bunch of jumps and trims, but I'm not worried about that because the engine in the software is going to take care of everything. Now that piece is done. Now what I'm going to do is actually I could do this piece while I'm here, so let's do that. Just make sure that our density is the same. I'm going to keep this piece right here, go all the way down the center, and then I'm going to come over here. Let's do the same thing here. Go down this side, go down the other side, and then go all the way up around this way. And we'll keep this as one continuous path all the way down, and I could just keep on going if I wanted to, and that's where it ended up. This I will use the branching for because I want that to be a continuous object. So I'm going to go back over here, and now I can continue on where I left off, and I can use the incredible tools of the software to make it work. Now, one thing here that I can see is it did a little strange thing there, and I'm going to zoom in just so you can see. If you ever have a stitch that happens like that, It's because when I select that object, which I just did, and I go to my points, I have somewhere on here a point that should not be there. So I'm going to take that one, and let's go here, and let me go back to my points right here, grab that one, and I want to make sure that I am going to move these completely out of the way. There's that one, and let's get this one down now, and here is this one, and let's move that just so that it's something like this. That way it got rid of it. So I had to turn the handle around and it got rid of it. So now I can go back to my previous view, which was 6:1. I'll go back to my little hand, move it over so that I have the next area to work with, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my density, and I'll just continue to draw all of these pieces like that, and then I'll do this one over here all the way around like that, and I'll do this one here, go all the way around like that, and then I'm going to take my hand, just pan down a little bit, and go back to my density and choose it, and then I can continue drawing, and I'm just making sure that I'm drawing nice clean lines and that they are nice and clean on the end. If for whatever reason they aren't clean, all you have to do is go into Node, Edit, and turn that little handle around the other direction, and it will usually fix it up, or you can delete one of the nodes and that will fix it up as well. So there's that point, and then I have one point right here, so I'm going to come down, and that one did look a little bit unclean for a second, but I'm still going to leave it exactly as is. And then I have one more right here, which I'm just going to come down, grab this one, and for the most part I think I am done. So to make sure, I'm going to go to my fit, the fit to screen, so it's going to give me the entire image. I'll turn on the 3D just so that I can see if I've missed anything, and it doesn't look like I've missed anything. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the entire black part of the objects. So I'm going to go to my sequence view here, and let's just find the black, and it's right here. I'm going to grab all of them at one time. Let's turn off the 3D so you can see all those jumps and trims, and we're going to hit that awesome branching tool, and it branched everything into one piece. So it's as easy as that. Now then, the only thing I might want to do is come in here. I really don't need to add any underlay to the outline because it's going to be more than fine the way it is, but I am going to add a little bit of a width, so maybe 1.2, let's try 3, 4, actually 1.4 millimeters. That's just going to make it a little bit wider and give me better results. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into each of the fills and I'm going to start moving the angles so I add some dimension. Now that I've grabbed the green and I can see within my sequence view I've grabbed the first leaf, I can grab it and then go to my inclination edit, and I can very quickly change stitch angles to the desired stitch angle that I want. So I can make it go the direction of the leaf, which I personally think is going to make it a little bit more realistic, something like that. Then I can go to all of the other pieces very quickly and again change stitch directions so I can have them all go in a direction that's adding a little bit of depth. And this one here is almost perfect, but let's just change that one as well. And then if I have trouble selecting any of them, I can just go through them one at a time and again hit that piece there. Let's change the direction of that. So I'm changing the inclination. This one, change the inclination again. Give me a little piece there. And there is this one right here. Change the inclinations. And then there's one more right here, which I'm going to change the inclination of that one. So I've changed the inclinations of all those. Then I can go in and I can change the inclinations of all the petals. So if I want to add a little bit of, I guess realism by having those petals all go in different angles, this is where I'm going to come in, change all the angles, come into this one, change the angle going here, all the way up like that, and this one going here. Now I'm going to show you one more thing because I want to make sure that this runs smoothly. If I look how I actually did it, I did my first piece, second piece, third piece, 4th, and then my 5th. So I did have them kind of going in an order where they all connected, and I did that for a reason. I want to make sure that my view entry exit points is on. So under my little menu down here on the bottom right side with the 3 dots, I'm going to choose view entry exit point, and then after it's selected and I choose my change nodes, this is where I do get my start and stop. So I can come here, and the first one I'm going to grab is my start point, which I'm going to put over here for a second, but I'm going to stop it right over here. So there is my start, there's my stop. Then when I go to the next one, my start is actually going to be, let's say, right over here, because that's where I ended, and there is my stop. Then the next one, my start is going to be right here because that's where I ended, and here's my stop. Then I'm going to change my start right here, and I'm going to put my stop right over here. And then for the last one, here is my start, and here is my stop. So I was able to adjust all of my starts and stops in the design as well. Now if I want to add some underlay to this, I could, but I'm not really sure that I want to, because it's actually 0.6 millimeters, and I could, if I wanted to, go into the settings here, and let's actually change it to 0.7, so even a little bit less density. And I'm going to come here, and let's just grab all of the green. I can just do it within the sequence very easily. I know these are all fills, so I'm going to change those to 0.7 as well. If there were any running stitches or satin stitches mixed into that color, I would need to grab the fills independently from those, but because it's all fill stitches, I know I'm pretty much going to be fine. And if I did really want to secure this, I mean, I could do a travel on edge feature, but I don't think I want to. But if I did really want to make sure these were secured, I could do a perpendicular, which is going to give me that fill going in, the underlay going in the different direction, or at least do a contour around there to hold them in place. But again, just such a small design, I don't think I really need to worry about that, especially since it's artistic merit. So it's going to keep the stitch count down. Right now, it looks like I am at 4.6 inches in height, and this looks, I believe, yeah, whichever, and it is 1440 stitches. So there's really not a lot of stitches in this design because I was able to control the densities. I'm going to sew this out. We'll show you the results. You can do this project, just follow these steps. It's an easy design and it's easy software, so have fun doodling. Well, I almost forgot. We got to save this file. We're going to save the native extension as well as the file to run on the machine. All you have to do that is make sure you hit the save as. You're going to type in whatever name you want for your design. So we'll call this one Floral 1 or Floral 2. We're going to save it as a JDX file format. That's the one that you can bring back in and you can change the properties. Once that's saved and you know you have it secure, then we're going to hit save as again, and now you can save it out to whatever flavor of machine. I'm going to save it as a PES version 6 file, save that onto a thumb drive, and then load it in the machine, and we're ready to go. Well, after I unselected the black and saved it to USB, there was 6,988 stitches. We loaded it on the machine and it ran with absolutely no issues. The detail lines up perfectly, it's nice and soft, and I like the little bit of running stitch detail that I used within the darker color in the petals. So as I've always said, the proof is in the stitching, and now I can say the Design Doodler is embroidery fun for everyone. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the Design Doodler.